What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. As many of you may know, Genfinity's Hedera Corner, we are trying to streamline in collaboration with Hashpack as many community project interviews as we possibly can. And awesome to say that we have Lucky Token today. Lucky Token building out pretty much the house of gaming and gambling on the Hedera network, utilizing the Hedera token service. So how are you doing today, Lucky?
Hi, glad to be here. I'm fine. How are you?
Great. So these interviews we're trying to streamline and make them as straight to the point as possible. So the first question that I would always ask is to describe Lucky Token, describe the ecosystem that you're building out.
All right. So Lucky Token is a token with not that large of a supply, and what we as the Lucky Token team do, we are a software focused group, and we are building use cases and utility for our token and exploring different ways we can make those things on the Hedera.
Yeah, great. As far as why Hedera, why did you guys choose to launch your ecosystem on the Hedera network?
Well, we all were a part of the community before launching the project, and we all came to the ecosystem for different reasons. But for me personally, I think that technology is something that's never existed before, and there's great opportunity to build something that hasn't really existed in this form before. So that's the most interesting aspect for me. And then everything else is so great with the Hedera base layer. It's fast and simple to use, and I mean I can explain it to people easily and show them. It's the most user-friendly network, I think, in my opinion, and it's a really great network to build on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the ecosystem and the community is fantastic. I certainly have to agree with you there. You guys are leveraging HTS very definitively, like the token service aspect. So have you seen anybody else on Hedera kind of launching the gaming, the house of gaming aspects that you guys are facilitating right now? Or are you guys kind of the outlier there? Because I haven't seen anybody else doing it as of yet.
Yeah, we haven't really seen anything that has their own in-house token that they are building, like use around their own token. Many use HBAR and have smart contracts and like simple games, coin flips and stuff with that. But when we have our own token and we are really trying to build some like unique ways of displaying what's possible on it, and we are completely like focused on what we are doing, because it's really something that's not done on Hedera before, and there's no guides to do it, so we really need to learn as we go, figure some stuff out in our own game use cases. And
yeah, regarding the game that you have right now, because I know you have gamified aspects with Lucky Token so far. I think you guys have done it with, there's a roulette game on the site, right? Are there plans in the near future to launch an additional game? I think that I was watching the HBAR Bulls interview that he did a few days ago, and he had mentioned that you guys were building out, or whoever he was interviewing mentioned that you guys were building out almost like, was it horse racing or something like that?
Yeah, so we have our own Discord server, Lucky Token Lounge. So it's where all the social aspect is happening. And we are making a Discord bot that integrates with Hashpack through HashConnect. And we can have social games on our Discord. So we currently it's an open beta of our Lucky Studs. So it's a horse racing game where there's 7 different horses and you bet which one you think you will win. And then when the race is simulated, winners get like paid their rewards. It's pretty simple, but it's fun because when people place bets, there's a notification on the race channel, and it's fun. It's a new thing in a social way, and we are really building this bot to be able to scale upwards for everything to be ready for the possible upcoming bull market. So when our product is able to scale and possibly spread to other Discord servers and propagate that way, so it can expand outside of like our established ecosystem. So I think that's great. And we are planning to make all games available on both on our Discord and on our web server, but development takes time, and especially with a develop team of only 3 members, it can take time. But we are really trying to put out quality products no matter how long it takes. And I think for the project, we are like 3 months old now, started this summer, and we already have I think some strong product to show. I think we are really in a good position going forwards. And yes, we are absolutely adding more games, and we really do want to like make unique games. All traditional gambling, yes, because the rules are pretty established there, and it's only the matter of implementation, but also some unique ideas that are only possible through the use of the Hashgraph technology.
Yeah, and I mean, when you think about like Web 2 and the gaming aspects, or like, you know, gambling aspects, so like poker and all the things that people could participate in right now, there's a lot of thought process around a lot of those ecosystems being rigged, you know what I mean?
Yes.
As far as like, you know, back end aspects and software aspects are basically, you know, telling, you know, these companies that are operating these platforms, you know, it's rigging the game. So can you talk a little bit about what differentiates Lucky Token and the aspects that you guys use to make sure that for your users that choose to make their own decisions? Obviously, this isn't financial advice for Lucky Token or the ecosystem or anything, but that choose to go on and play these games, how you guys are keeping that system fair.
All right, so our fairness comes through the use of the Hedera consensus service. So it's a modifier that's outside of any user's direct influence. So when the network reaches consensus, when all the nodes agree that the transaction went through, that is something that is outside of everyone's control. So we are binding the results of our games. So for example, what number roulette shows up when the transaction goes through, and the algorithm can only then calculate the number. So nobody knows it beforehand. It can be only known when the transaction is reached consensus. So this can be used in many different ways. When you need a random number, no matter how big or small, we can adjust the algorithm we have. So currently the roulette uses from 0 to 99, but we can simulate a dice roll or a selection from a million. It doesn't really matter because it's all really random, and the number is different every time there. So instead of us having control, it's a combination of two things we really don't have the control over. It's the when user decides to submit the transaction, and when Hedera consensus service is reached and the transaction is finalized on the network. And I think those are really strong points when making something like this that requires extreme trust. We all in our team understand how like large of a trust issue there currently is on gambling, and solving that is one of those problems we are definitely in the process of making everything fair and transparent, so there can be no issue about the trust at all when using our products, I think.
No, thank you for the explanation. I mean, that was one of the questions I definitely wanted to ask you guys regarding what you're facilitating. Moving forward a little bit, you know, talking about partnerships and collaborations, can you talk a little bit about any partnerships you may have had? I know, for example, I think you guys are working with SaucerSwap, at least from a liquidity pool standpoint, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there hasn't really been that many collaborations directly with other products. Yeah, SaucerSwap launched the new farm in there, and the liquidity pools are there currently. It's the DeFi and DEX that we prefer currently on Hedera, and we have good relations to there as well.
Yeah, no,
But
thank you.
future partnerships, yes, we are open, but currently we are focused on building our product completely. So it's something that's on, it's a possibility, but it's not a priority. Yeah, possibility, but not a priority currently.
Yeah, and I mean, even with milestones and achievements you guys have already accomplished, and understanding that development takes time. With the Lucky Stud aspect that you guys are going to be facilitating in the near future, as far as the horse racing, like what else is kind of going to be, are you planning on looking at in the future as far as gaming after you facilitate the horse racing? Because you already have roulette, you'll have horse racing. Do you guys, can you drop any alpha for us and maybe tell us what other games you're at least thinking of that may be in the wheelhouse?
Oh, well, I nothing concrete yet. Nothing, like I can't say anything before discussing with the team. But something I would really like to make is something where you like do heists, you like try and rob a place and escape in one piece to get some awesome treasure, and then if you get out in one piece, you get to keep those treasures. So there's a risk reward system, and it can be done quite differently on the Hashgraph because it's immutable. So when you get the treasure, it's logged on Hashgraph, and everyone knows it's.
So definitely kind of the gamification aspect, even outside of necessarily like gambling, like more.
Yeah, absolutely, and our programmer has over 20 years of experience in game development, so we really have some ideas brewing, and when they become more of a reality, I am more than happy to share them. But currently those are on the idea aspect, and when they start to materialize, I can share more. But absolutely, games that cannot be done on any service, like something mix of new and old, and all kinds of things that we think are exciting, and are games that would bring the community together in a way that's not done before. That's something we really seek on doing, and I think Hedera is a perfect platform to do it because it's fast and cheap and really efficient to use. So no one needs to miss out because the network is slow or expensive or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, looking through the green paper you guys have built out right now, you do have kind of obviously it's all based around, the token service with the Lucky token. So can you touch a base a little bit on the tokenomic aspects or the endless liquidity pool aspects that you guys have built into the tokenomics right now?
Right, so the tokenomics and such, where the green paper was written, like it was one of the first things we did, and it will receive a bit of not an overhaul, but like a 5th page to explain more now as our project has developed further. But as we see it, and as I have thought about it, it's like when we receive house profits from the games, it's constant, and the more games we do, the volume creeps up. The velocity of the token increases as the more use cases come up. So when the treasury starts to fill up eventually, as it already has, we zeroed it and it already has a lot of tokens. But as it reaches a point, there will become a point where there's not enough token to go around. We don't know when that point is, but when it is, we will add back to the liquidity pool. There's no reason for us to just go and sell, just openly sell on the market. It's much more long-term sustainable to feed back into the liquidity pool. And that way, when players receive tokens as a reward from the games, there is assurance that they will always be able to cash those out if they want through swapping on the DEX.
Yep.
So there's like the baseline of providing liquidity through. Now it may take time because there's not a lot of use cases currently live, but when there is, there's a lot of more velocity of the token, and things will happen a lot faster, I think, in the future. But it's something that's like, I think that's a good way for us to reinvest the tokens we get from the games and use cases we have, and it's good. It's the most healthy thing we can do to it. And I think when the 5th page of the white paper is released, that will explain a lot more how those tokens that end up into the treasury are like finally distributed, because we have done some internal discussions about this. But I think we have what we have in our project is we have two long-term goals, token wise and then software wise, and those are not, they both help each other, but neither is required. We can do this no matter what the token price is. We don't really care about the token price. We really care about that the token is available so people can use our use cases, and we are making the token more available, because there's not a lot of it. There's less than 8 million tokens in total.
Yeah,
and another little detail about the token is there's no keys attached to the token, so it's completely immutable. So when the token is in the player's like wallet, nobody can like do anything to it. It's complete ownership of the token, and I think in especially in the gambling scenario, this is really important to nail down. So when players win something, they win it, and there's no one in the world that can take those wins out from their wallets. I think that's really important thing.
Yeah. I always like to ask, where would you like people to go to learn more about what you guys are doing? Is that Twitter? Is that the website? Is that the Discord? So where would you like to drive people towards so that they can learn more about what you guys are facilitating, so that they can play the game that you have right now, and then try to read the paper and get into the community? If you'd like to let everybody know.
I think that Discord is the best way to get into it. Our Twitter is lucky_HTS, and everything is in the header on the bio, links to our Discord and website and all that. So to our Twitter, you can find our links to Discord, and we are basically around the clock. There is someone from the dev team available on the Discord, and we are very active there. If you have any questions, there is always someone to explain it to you, and I think that's the best place. Discord is the best place to join the community of Lucky Token. Absolutely.
Well, hey, great. I really appreciate you taking the time out today. Huge shout out to Hashpack for helping us to streamline these interviews. And Lucky, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll be talking more in the future. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for giving this opportunity.
No problem.
Glad to be here. See you later.